Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Madison, everything we know about Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone spin-off series. John Dutton's body is barely cold, but it's already time to look towards the future of the Yellowstone universe. The massively popular Western series, created by Taylor Sheridan, signed off with a strange, divisive Travis-filled final batch of episodes in December 2024, wrapping up an extended 2-year off-season, technically marketed as a mid-season, with an ending that saw the Kevin Costner's Dutton family patriarch kick the bucket, with his black sheep son Jamie, Wes Bentley, soon following. The ending of Yellowstone was far from perfect, but the show seeded enough goodwill among hooked viewers over the years that whatever Sheridan does next, it's clear that millions will still tune in. The multi-hyphenate cowboy creative's upcoming filmography is as overstuffed as ever, but in the ever-changing landscape of IP-driven TV production, one forthcoming project seems to be coming together nicely: The Madison. We still have a lot of questions related to The Madison. Will Kurt Russell show up? Will Beth and Rip? But there's also plenty of intriguing intel about the show available, especially when it comes to the star-studded cast. Here's what we know so far. The Madison doesn't have a release date yet, but it's in production now according to Variety. The final season of Yellowstone aside, Sheridan shows typically make their way to our TV screens pretty quickly. Each of the first 4 seasons of the flagship series was released just a year apart, and non-Yellowstone Sheridan shows that were announced in early 2022, namely the War on Terror thriller Special Ops, Lioness, and the oil driller drama Landman, released their first seasons in 2023 and 2024, respectively. The Madison was only officially announced around August 2024, so if Sheridan's more recent development patterns continue, it could be due out later this year. As for where to watch The Madison, that also hasn't been officially announced per Variety, though based on the success of Yellowstone, which by its final season was so bonkers popular that it was airing on 9 different networks, I'd wager the answer will probably involve more than one viewing opportunity. Some Sheridan shows have debuted exclusively on the streamer Paramount+, while Yellowstone itself called the Cabler, the Paramount network, its home. Either of the two options would be good for The Madison, though both at once may be the more lucrative option for Paramount. If you've ever wondered what Sheridan thinks of city slickers trying to rough it in Montana, I kid, we've already heard a lot about this on Yellowstone. The Madison might be for you. Early reporting on the show indicated that it's about matriarch Stacey Clyburn, who moves her family from New York to Montana in the present day. Recent reports have offered a few more details, with Variety citing an official logline calling it a heartfelt study of grief and human connection following a New York City family in the Madison River Valley of central Montana. Based on this description, it's likely we'll see fewer murder victims yeeted into canyons than we did in Yellowstone, and it sounds like Sheridan is trying his hand at more grounded drama. Still, there no doubt will be drama. Other announced characters are described as a fellow member of the New York City elite, and a younger daughter who also grew up in a wealthy New York City family. Watch out, coastal elites. All of this sounds a little like Gossip Girl on a ranch, but it's clear that The Madison will once again aim to tackle class issues and region-specific struggles, too. One character is described as an indigenous woman married to a Montana rancher who lives with her family on a double-wide trailer on their ranch. For all their flaws, Sheridan shows continue to bring in A-list casts, and The Madison is no exception. Scarface and Batman Returns actress Michelle Pfeiffer is set to lead the show as Stacy, while Suits alum Patrick J. Adams, Lost star Matthew Fox, and model and Tron legacy actress Bo Garrett will also star. Previously, Matthew McConaughey was linked to the show that turned out to be The Madison, but reports of his potential involvement may have been blown out of proportion. Kurt Russell was also featured in an early casting report, but Deadline says his participation in the show remains unconfirmed, while Variety's extensive coverage of the series' casting doesn't mention the action star at all. If Russell is going to appear in The Madison, his character remains under wraps, but other roles have been revealed. Adams will play a privileged investment banker named Russell McIntosh, while Garrett will be Abigail Reese, who Variety describes as a resilient and sardonic New Yorker who is a recently divorced mother of two. The actor best known as Dr. Jack Shepherd, Fox, has big love interest energy, as his character Paul has been described as a self-reliant bachelor who loves the outdoors. The show has a pretty big ensemble cast that also includes Elle Chapman, a man called Otto, who will play Paige, the materialistic wife of Adams Russell. Amy Ab Miller, star of the 2022 horror comedy My Best Friend's Exorcism, will appear in a key role, as will Ben Schnetzer, Lee, the Last Man. The show's most recent round of casting announcements features Danielle Vasanova, 1923, who will play the matriarch of an indigenous ranching family, Elena Pollack, on call, who will take the role of Garrett's character's youngest daughter, Kevin Zegers, Dr. Odyssey, playing a new Montana neighbor, and Rebecca Spence, Paper Girls, getting her wealthy New York elite on as Stacy's pal Liliana, per Variety. Taylor Sheridan, a Hollywood figure who's so prolific and busy that he at one point inspired a parody joking that he's actually multiple people pretending to be one guy. See the great Rutherford Falls episode Adirondacks S3, is unsurprisingly on board The Madison as its writer, creator, and executive producer. His company Bosque Ranch Productions, which is presumably the business that allows Sheridan's shows to shoot on his own real-life ranch, is producing the series, as are MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios. Pfeiffer also has an EP credit on the project, one of the first of her career. While other executive producers reportedly include Ron Burkle, Keith Cox, Michael Friedman, David C. Glasser, David Hutkin, John Linson, Art Linson, Christina Foros, and Bob Urey. All of the EPs aside from Pfeiffer have worked on previous Sheridan shows, and Cox was the production manager for Yellowstone. Here's where things get tricky. The Madison was originally mentioned in the press as a Yellowstone sequel series, but as is typical with the Sheridanverse, it soon became clear that the sheer number of shows in development meant things weren't as clear-cut as they seemed. Since the original announcement, we've gotten confirmation of a Yellowstone sequel series continuing the story of Beth Dutton, Kelly Riley, and Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, and there's still talk of additional in-universe shows like present-day set 6666. Will these shows cross over with The Madison, or did either of them end up absorbed into the fabric of The Madison during the course of development? It's unclear as of publication time whether or not The Madison will feature any Yellowstone characters. People says the show was meant to continue the Dutton family story, but may tell an entirely new story. But given the negotiations Rayleigh and Hauser reportedly went through to secure the next chapter of their characters' stories, it seems likely that they'll have their own separate show and leave the Madison spotlight to Pfeiffer. In addition to all of these titles, The Hollywood Reporter notes that Yellowstone fans can eventually expect a prequel called 1944 and a second season for the Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren-led saga 1923. If you want to replay the hits while you wait for all of these titles, you can watch the first season of 1923, as well as 1883, on Paramount Plus now. All 5 seasons of Yellowstone are available on Peacock.